of RE Technology. Welcome to today's webinar. We're very excited to have some excellent panelists with us that are going to talk about ways in which real estate agents are having success building relationships with their business. To kind of underpin a little bit of about what we're going to talk about today, I think you need to understand that part of RE Technology's goal is to not only deliver you content every day that helps you stay current with trends in real estate technology, but also to bring educational webinars to you that are going to help you improve your business. So today, we're very glad to have Top Producer step in and support today's webinar. They've been providing customer relationship management software as long as anyone in the real estate business today, and they've invited a couple of their customers with us who've had a lot of success using their platform. But I think really it's just a model for you to understand the best possible solutions that you can deploy in your business to have similar success. So we're going to be talking about how to build your database. You know, it's very important for you to build sort of relationships with customers. A lot of people talk about getting leads, and leads really aren't enough in the business today. What you need to do is convert those leads to relationships. So you're going to learn a lot about how people are doing that. You're going to learn how to manage hundreds of contacts. You know, the psychologists say you can only manage 150 relationships in your life, but using tools like CRM allows you to stay in touch with far more people, and you're going to hear a little bit about how a couple of excellent real estate agents are doing that. We're going to talk about mobile because one of the things that real estate agents were encumbered by with customer relationship management solutions is that if you had to be in a desktop, you really weren't selling real estate. So Top Producer, along with other CRM companies, have done great things to allow you to have all that productivity when you are mobile. How to do some planning to leveraging your database and how to grow your database, and some strategic pointers. But you know, sort of there are 5 or 6 really important fundamental things that you need to understand in real estate. One of them is, you know, staying in touch with your customers and responding to customers at lightning speed. And so you're going to learn from our panelists today ways that you can leverage technology to do that. You need to know neighborhoods intimately and be talking about neighborhoods intimately so that people within your sphere of influence understand how vested you are in the local real estate market. You need to constantly be explaining everything to your customers and providing them education and information ahead of any other agent in your marketplace. And then just really build and develop an outstanding network. So with that, I would like to invite Ryan Green to get started with today. He's going to introduce the panelists and set the stage for today's webinar. Thank you very much. And I just would remind you as you go through the webinar today, by all means, please put your questions in the questions dialog box, and we will make sure that all of them are answered during today's webinar. So with that, Ryan, are you with us?
I am. Thank you, Victor. And you know, quick apology for the technical difficulties at the beginning, but we're back and ready to go. So really happy to be here and honored, you know, to have a couple of our customers here at Top Producer joining us today. George Belleville with Keller Williams from the Maryland area is an successful individual agent who leverages assistance from time to time, but has been able to create a you know, a really powerful real estate business as a solo agent, and actually moderates our largest user group on Facebook. So we'll talk a little bit about that. And then Thomas Scott from Florida, also with Keller Williams Realty, a little bit different. He's got a team. He's got a team of 7 to 8 people, and a combination of listing agents, buyer's agents, and internal sales associates and lead coordinators. So we're going to get a nice mix of, you know, strategies around building relationships that ultimately fuel business. So George and Tom, thank you for joining us here today. Let's get started and move through some of the content. So connecting with Top Producer, there's a couple ways that you can do so. I'll go through this really quick. Our blog, if you're not subscribed, is somewhere where not only does it talk about Top Producer and some of the product enhancements and things that we're doing here at Top Producer, but it's really talking about strategies. So regardless of whether you leverage our tools or not, you can incorporate some of these strategies into your day-to-day business. On Facebook, we're at Top Producer Systems, and as I mentioned, George is the moderator of a very dynamic Facebook group called Top Producer Users. Actually has over 1,000 members now, just crossed that 1,000 member threshold, and it's really a great place where you can ask questions of other subscribers, and you really get that collaborative and team bonding across customer bases. So you know, mark those down as a place for you to get some additional content beyond the webinar. So what are we going to talk about today? I think Victor summarized it really well, but it's, you know, relationships are at the core of real estate. So we're going to talk about things like staying organized, you know, responding to leads, providing that personalized service, right, and then staying in touch to generate referrals. This is really kind of looking at the entire cross-section of a real estate business. It's not just about leads. It's being able to service those leads, convert those leads into long-term and repeat clients. That's the goal. And there's tools that you can use to help facilitate that. So let's start off with our first poll. Let's get everybody you know, sort of engaging here, trying to get a sense of, you know, are you a current customer of Top Producer, either Top Producer, the CRM, Market Snapshot, or 5 Street. Just trying to get a quick sense of who our audience is here. We've got a lot of people logged in today, so we'll give you a few seconds to submit your results. And let's see. And let's take a look at some of the results here. So it looks like 51% of you are Top Producer subscribers. So welcome. You know, I hope you get some tricks, some tips on, you know, how to incorporate the tool into your business. So this is great. It gives us a nice perspective as to who the audience is. So at the core, right, at the core, what we try to do here at Top Producer is we understand that each one of you are managing 3 key relationship types at all times. Generating new relationships with leads and prospects, right? Managing current clients, those that are in the active buy and sell stage. And then trying to maintain relationships long-term with past clients in your sphere. And that is what a CRM is all about. A CRM, the acronym, Customer or Client Relationship Management, it's about being able to manage those individuals through the various stages of that relationship. And I think, you know, managing through the stages, that's the key. No one stays as a lead forever. No one stays as a current client forever. And hopefully no one stays as a past client forever, because you want to turn them back into a repeat client. So it's being able to manage them successfully through the various stages of that home buying cycle. And that's really kind of the secret sauce and the secret weapon of a lot of successful agents and teams, is being able to manage and provide that superior customer service at all levels of that home buying interaction. So let's talk first. Let's get into our first kind of conversation, which is really about staying organized. And just to frame this a little bit, and I think we're going to get a lot of insight here from both George and Tom. But you know, Top Producer as a CRM, it has been you know, it's been around. We started in 1982. Obviously, various iterations of the product, from desktop all the way through to, you know, now you know, fully optimized for mobile, as you can see on the right. But at the core, it hasn't changed, in that it is really your hub, and that that repository for every client's interaction so that you can provide that great level of service. And we like to call it the Wikipedia. Wikipedias are constantly in state of change. People are submitting and keeping them updating, posting, additional content. And that's what a CRM is all about. It's something, it's alive. It's something that is constantly evolving, and it's about being able to track your contacts and their changing preferences, any activities and social status updates, appointments, emails, being able to track every single email interaction and have that viewable right from the contact record. Important dates so that you can make sure that you're following up on birthdays, anniversaries, property anniversaries, ways in which you can help provide that great service, for not only during that transaction, but most importantly beyond that transaction, and stay top of mind with your clients. So let's kind of bring Tom and George into the conversation. So, gentlemen, welcome again. Maybe before we get started, George, maybe you want to just kind of introduce yourself a little bit more, as to kind of the dynamic and sort of your history with Top Producer.
Sure. My name is George Belville. I'm from Ellicott City, which is near Baltimore in Maryland. I've been a Top Producer user for, I think, about 8 or 9 years now, and it's been a great system for me. I'm a very high C, organized type person, and I like everything to be maintained and in order, and I've also learned not to rely on my memory for things. So Top Producer has helped me a great deal with that.
All right. Well, thank you, George, and Tom. Give a little bit of a background of your history with Top Producer and your business. Tom? All right, we don't have Tom. So
Hello, can you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you.
Okay, sorry, I was muted. Yeah, this
no
is
problem.
Scott. I'm the operations. I'm a realtor, and I'm the operations manager for the Gene Scott team in Oviedo, Florida. We're just on the suburbs of Orlando in Seminole County. We have Gene is our rainmaker and lead agent. We have a listing specialist on our team, 4 buyer specialists, and 3 employees. So there's 10 of us on the team, and we're looking at head number 11. So we just started Top Producer over the winter. We used what Keller Williams calls E-Edge. It's a market leader product. Pretty good website, pretty good lead capture, but it fell short as far as how do we keep in touch with those people that we know, friends, family, past clients, people who know us well enough that they would do business with us again or refer business to us. And Top Producer filled that void very, very well. And this year, after a little bit of reorganization and ramp up, we are blowing the doors off our numbers for last year, for second quarter of 2015 over 2014. So it's a great product. It's helped us tremendously.
Great stuff. Thanks, and welcome to both of you again, and thanks for sharing your strategies with our audience here. George, let's go first to you. You said you're high C, so this category is probably really geared towards you, which is staying organized. Victor kind of said at the top, people can only manage sort of 100 people. Wow, if I could manage 100 people by myself, I think I'd impress myself, but I don't think I could do it. How do you categorize your contacts so that you can manage them more effectively?
Well, actually, I have a couple different ways that I categorize them. And I think we talked about this, the Michael Mayer book, The 7 Levels of Communication. He has some ways that he categorizes people that I use, which are in terms of whether or not they will refer you business or how often. So that's one level I do, but also just in terms of how soon they're planning to do business. One of the things I've learned is people who ask for property valuations, the research shows they're about 18 months out from actually doing anything. So you have people from that are ready to buy this week, this month, 6 months, a year, 18 months, even to like 5 or 10 years down the road. And when you add all those people together, it's just way too many people to keep in touch with. So you have to have ways to categorize them. And one thing that Top Producer added recently that I loved are the new categories types for people with the new, engage, active, past clients. So it's a very quick and easy way for people to categorize their clients. So that way, if you're busy and things are starting to get frazzled, you can always go to Top Producer and look at your active list, scroll through it, make sure you're not forgetting everybody, because of course in an ideal world we like to think everybody's on an action plan, but sometimes real life gets in the way and the action plan isn't quite what you'd like it to be. But you can go to that active, and I see it up on the screen, if you go to that active list, you can click on that and just go through there and make sure that you're touching everybody or doing everything you need to do. So it's a great way. I mean, I think I have almost 600 people on Market Snapshot. I have about 350 new leads that that I haven't connected with, and about 240 in the engage status that I go back over again and again. And it's just a numbers game. But if you didn't have that, you just would not ever be able to remember what you need to do for each one of those people.
So you're using the pipeline in addition to maybe categories, contact types, as ways to identify whether they're a hot opportunity or someone that maybe is a little bit longer term, as you were saying, those that were requesting property valuations, an 18th-month term.
Exactly. I have a lot of different categories that I use.
Okay. All right. Great. Tom, what about yourself with a team? How do you define that process for categorizing contacts so that when team member B goes and pulls up a contact, they can identify with that client and know exactly by the categorization who they are and maybe what cycle they're in.
Yeah, I'm probably a lot like George, very detailed. I was retired as a pharmacist after 25 years, 3 years ago, so very detailed, organized. But I have my wife and partner, Jean, is our lead listing specialist, and she has the exact profile of a listing specialist and lead agent. Very high I, which is very people-oriented, and a very high D, which I'm D2. We butt heads, but that's beside the point. She's very fast-paced. She's not going to slow down to do the organization in detail. So the way we set this up, I just keep it super simple. Sarah is an employee of ours on our team. She is our lead coordinator. She's our top producer central person. She gets all the incoming leads, organizes everything, and keeps it all organized. But we have a couple of sections. There's two sections that I pay attention to, and in my mind they're separate. The first one is our follow-up coach. The most important thing there is, and again, keeping it simple, we have three categories mainly. Who are our past clients? So we mark those past clients. They come up on the follow-up coach. Then who are our METs? The MR Millionaire Real Estate Agent book by Gary Keller, we follow those models. He calls them METs. The equivalent to that in Top Producer is sphere of influence. So who are the people that we know well enough that it would not be beyond the realm of possibility that they would do business with us or refer business to us? Those are our METs. Those are our sphere of influence. Then we have one more category, those people who have actually referred business to us. They're our VIPs or allied resources. So we keep it really simple. We want everybody in our team to contact people they know at least every 90 days, so those come up in the follow-up coach. Then the next section is the sales pipeline. Who's the new leads? Who are we trying to engage with? Who's future business currently working with? And then closed is also the same as past clients. So in my mind, I'm thinking in two separate parallel veins, and both of these work excellent to manage, organize our business, and keep in touch with past clients and people we know, friends and family.
So a couple things that's come up here. So George, you've been with the system for a period of time, and have actually invested in creating action plans to manage your follow-up with your clients. And then Tom, relatively new. The team is relatively new. You're utilizing follow-up coach to kind of automate some of that reminder to, hey, might be you've identified somebody as a past client. It's now been 4 or 5 months since that last touch point. Now is an opportunity to connect. So two different strategies there, both solve the same need, which is maintaining those relationships long term. But there's a couple of different ways that you can attack that. So thank you, guys. Tom, with a team, do you guys leverage notes? Is notes and marking information about a client on a contact record a critical piece of making sure that everybody is synchronized as to what's going on, what are the specific needs of that client?
Oh yes, we say all the time, especially on a team, because you have multiple people in that contact record. We may have Sarah, who's our client care coordinator, top producer central lead, she manages this whole thing for all of our agents. And then you might have the agent, whether it's one of our buyer specialists or a listing specialist. And then Jean, who's our lead agent, she's in there as well. So, and then who remembers what happened 3 months or 6 months or a year ago? So we are very, very strong on put notes. And then you have a story and a history for that contact. Absolutely huge, whether you're a single agent or a team. Put notes in there, even if it's 1 or 2 sentences.
Right, and I think that's great, and I think it's really, especially with a team, but even just an individual, as Victor said, you can only manage 100 people at a time, so the notes are there as your reminder, into little snippets of details, and they can really help with a team because now you can convey information, and you're never in that situation where, oh, well, I'll have to connect with the other agent because, and get the details. They can always be there to answer the needs of the client. And I think it also stems, and we'll move on, into our next category here, but also emails. Emails are a form of communication, and with Top Producer, you can have all of those emails, regardless of where you generated them, whether they were from your mobile device or your desktop, wherever. You can have all of those linked and available as part of the email history associated with that client. So, ways in which you can, just kind of really stay organized.
Hey, Ryan.
May I add one little?
Oh, go ahead.
Yeah, go ahead, Tom.
The big deal, the big things with this is, say you're meeting somebody, getting to know somebody, and they just had a new grandbaby. 3 months later, you're not going to remember, but if the note's there, grandbaby Sally, you call, hey, listen, how's your granddaughter doing? It just helps those relationships go so far. Who remembers all the things about everybody? But it's important to know and to care and be interested. And that's a great way to remember and start a good conversation.
Ryan, this is Victor. I'd like to add one thing to that. There's some very interesting research that Wave Group has done, and we've done this both for the National Association of Realtors, for franchise organizations, and for large brokers. We survey consumers when they exit the transaction process, and we ask them questions. And the primary question is, are you likely to use this agent again in a future transaction? And 98% of the time, the answer is yes. 2% of the time, when they say no, it's very, very helpful for the company to understand why. I mean, that's where you find problems in your organization. But the really interesting thing is that when you go back and you look at how often consumers actually use their agent in the future transaction, the number hovers around 15%. So you begin to say, well, where's the disconnect? 98% of the people say they'd use their agent again, but only 15% do. And we ask those agents why, or those consumers why they didn't use their agent in the future transaction. The number one response is the agent didn't stay in touch. And with Top Producer or any other technology solution today that delivers customer relationship management, there's really absolutely no reason for that. But you do need to use these notes in order to manage that relationship and to continue to make that relationship more and more familiar. So if you can pull up the conversation, oh, last time I talked to you, I saw you were going to Costa Rica. How was that? I saw the pictures on Facebook. Wow, whatever. But those types of things and staying in touch with your customers is the most vital component to developing your repeat and referral business.
Absolutely. I think that's really well said, and it's kind of the real key here. We know that real estate professionals are focusing on those clients in that transaction, in that near-term transaction. Sometimes managing long-term follow-up can be difficult. It's sort of seen as something, I just don't have time. What we try to do is sort of remove that burden of follow-up and really try to automate and create scale for you so that it doesn't need to be difficult and it doesn't need to take a lot of time, but it can have huge impacts on your business. So one of the things that I'm going to kind of show here is kind of the importance of not only sort of capturing that note, but more importantly kind of capturing that next step. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to pull up our mobile application, if I can see if I can get that going here. Get that to show. And it doesn't look like we're going to have much success with that.
While he's pulling that up, I just want to remind you, as we're going through today's presentation, be sure to put your questions in the GoToWebinar control panel, and we'll get to all of them as soon as we conclude here.
Okay, so that's not coming up for me, so no big deal. Let's move on. So one of the things I was going to showcase is, inside of Top Producer, anytime you complete an activity or complete a follow-up, whether it be an email or whether it be a phone call, it's actually going to take you through a wrap-up. And that wrap-up is going to allow you to both, A, capture that communication has been done. That's critical. But even more critical is being able to capture, the conversation, any notes, and schedule that next follow-up. You can do that all in one step, and it's called the wrap-up. And if we get our mobile system, my client showing here up on the screen, I can show you that. But let's move on. Let's move into sort of the next category, which is kind of responding to leads. So we've got another poll here, keeping you on your toes. So what online lead sources do you leverage here today? So we'll make this one quick. If you've select kind of all that apply. Just trying to get a sense of where our audience is generating leads. So let's just give that a couple more seconds and close out that poll. And let's take a look at the results here. Okay, so not surprisingly, personal website and the major portals kind of neck and neck at kind of 50+%. So really good. Okay, so let's move on. How quickly do you respond to those leads? I think this is a real key point here. So let's start this start this poll again. How quickly do we respond to those leads? Are you really diligent about that 5 to 10 minute response, or do you kind of let them lag a little bit? Maybe a couple hours when you get an opportunity to follow up with that lead, or do you wait until the end of the day? Let's get a sense of where people are. Okay, let's close out that poll.
Hey Ryan, I have a little anecdote for you there. Wave Group generated 1,000 leads, and we generated them across broker websites, Realtor.com, Zillow, and Trulia, as well as franchise websites. And we found that 51% of leads generated on those websites were never responded to.
Yeah.
The average response time was over 30 hours.
Yeah.
And when agents did respond, the quality of the response was very low. Very fascinating information.
It really is, and I think you bring that those details in with this slide here that is showing the number of leads being generated in real estate every year. Look at that exponential growth versus annual home sales. That's not necessarily more individuals submitting leads. That's the same level of individuals sending multiple inquiries. So that basically is showing you that there is more competition for these inquiries and therefore these leads than ever before. So response time is a critical component, and we know that if you can respond within that 5 to 10 minute window, you are so much more likely to be able to connect with that lead because they're still in that act of searching and are looking for a response. There's a lot of studies. NAR has done studies. I believe even, there's a lot that show that consumers are looking for near immediate response. And so, that's a critical component to being able to move from just capturing leads to helping you convert those leads. So we've got a couple flavors here. George is an individual agent, and what George does is he actually uses Top Producer to consolidate leads from over 100 different sources, including all the major portals, various websites, and such. And he can consolidate those all into Top Producer, and he sets action plans so that there's an automated response, an email response out to that consumer. So he's managing that response time using Top Producer, right? Individual agent can bring them all into Top Producer.
Right. And hey, Ryan, can I just clarify for people real quick about that?
Sure. Sure.
The way that works, it's very simple, is there's an email address that you're given through Top Producer that you can add as your response email for some of these portals. And by using that email, that's one of the ways it goes directly into your Top Producer. So for example, I use IDX Broker for my website. When I get a lead from there, it goes immediately into Top Producer, and they're immediately assigned to an action plan based on that source, which it actually generates two emails. One is kind of a generic from the office email. The other is from me saying I'm the agent email. So they actually get two within about 5 minutes saying that, that we'll be in touch. And it happens automatically no matter where I am and what I'm doing.
So it's, and we've got, for those that want some more details, on that, our Top Producer support site provides you all of the, how-tos and how to access that individual email address, just like George was saying, and be able to, ensure that all of those leads are funneling into your Top Producer. So let's move conversely over to Tom. Tom's got a team and actually has a sort of somebody who's managing the response for those leads. So those leads come into Top Producer in the same way that it does for George, but that lead specialist is really sort of doing the kind of initial discovery, initial response out to that consumer, and then manually assigning those leads to the appropriate agent. Okay? Different, again, dynamic of an individual agent versus a team. Okay. There's another way as well for those that maybe don't have somebody that is available to respond to those leads, a physical lead specialist. We've got a tool called 5 Street that's really kind of designed to help you optimize your response rate, and it does so by incorporating competition into your lead distribution to help optimize the response rate. How it works is it's very similar to the previous scenarios. You can consolidate your leads from all sources. Again, you get a unique email address. You can consolidate all of those leads into 5 Street. Inside of 5 Street, then it broadcasts that lead out to multiple agents at one time. So in this case, all 3 of these agents would receive a notification saying that a lead is available. You'll notice that the contact information, email address and phone number, is not available. That's hidden. But you do get a sense of, okay, where's this lead coming from? What are some of the notes and what are some of the other details pertaining to this lead? The first agent that then claims that lead is then assigned that lead. Okay? So you can use technology as well in order to help facilitate the assignment of these leads. And then these systems work really in tandem with Top Producer. If this particular agent claimed that lead, that would then flow into their Top Producer system, and it would be assigned to that single agent. So the 2 systems work harmoniously together, but 5 Street is really kind of a technology to kind of help you facilitate that assignment by managing the assignment as to who's available. The agent that's available to claim it hits claim. The first one to do so is assign that lead. And in addition to that, while that's all happening, and that's happening within sort of that 5 to 10 minute time frame of that lead being submitted, there's an automated email, an automated text message that goes out to that consumer to say, hey, thanks for your inquiry. Tied up right now, or if you've got a team, somebody from my team is going to reach out to you. Is there a good time to connect? That text message goes out, and we see over a 40% response rate to that text message, those automated text messages. These are people responding back saying, yeah, how about 5? How about 4 o'clock? Thanks for getting back to me so quickly. That's all happening in an automated fashion. Nobody is actually sending that text, but it feels like a personalized response. We have a customer, Linda, who signed up for 5 Street, back, just before Christmas, and she posted this, right? The second lead that came through after I signed up for 5 Street turned into a closing. It was as simple as having that message go out, when can I call you? That elicited a response by the consumer. The consumer said, how about 5? And the dialogue and the connection was made. From that point, it turned into a closing. So different strategies for, depending on your team. So there's different ways that you can structure kind of your structure your response. One thing I always like to include and talk about, when it relates to response, is the association to your brand, right? Victor spoke of it. 50%, 40 to 50% of leads were never responded to. Think about what that means to your brand, either you as an individual agent or you as a team or a broker, right? So, when Jack kind of put out this quote saying, hey, lead conversion emphasizes response time, right? 5 Street is creating a better consumer experience and by extension a better industry. If a consumer is getting a timely response, that's a positive association with your brand. If they're getting a response that doesn't meet their expectation, or maybe they're never getting a response, that can have a negative drag on your brand. So, providing personalized service. Okay, let's kind of switch gears and go into another poll. What kind of questions are you asked as a professional? Okay, some of the options: how's the market? What's my home worth? Right? How are the schools nearby? Right? How much did homes sell for down the street? What kind of questions are you being asked all the time? So let's close out that poll and let's take a look. All right, how's the market? What's my home worth? How much did homes sell down the street? Okay, I think a great lead-in, right, to really our next conversation, which is really around Market Snapshot. Market Snapshot being a tool that both of our customers here on the call are going to be able to talk a lot about here today. But really simply, we know that real estate is local, so really the question that consumers are asking is not how's the market at a macro level, how's the market where I live? How's the market in my neighborhood, on my street? So Market Snapshot is your ability to answer that question at the neighborhood level, and it does so by leveraging the data that's available in your local MLS. So you know it's current, you know it's timely. And it's a report that you can send to new leads, to past clients, regardless of where they are in that home buying cycle, that's going to give them the perspective as to what's going on in their local neighborhood. It's going to provide them local statistics, as well as access to the current inventory, as well as what has recently sold. And if they've got if they're really interested in making sure that they are at the heartbeat of getting up-to-date information, you can actually subscribe them also to various alerts, new listing alerts, price change alerts, as well as sold alerts. Okay, so Market Snapshot can really be used as a way to provide that local expertise, that information about that local market, which they can't get anywhere else in an automated form. So let's bring in George. I know, George, you've gone on record before saying, Market Snapshot is kind of the tool that you would never give up. how do you use it to market to leads and prospects?
And honestly, if I had to give up pretty much every other thing I use in this business, that would be the last thing I would give up, because everybody who owns a house cares very much about the value of their home. It's just human nature. People want to know about the value of their home. They're nosy and want to know about the value of their neighbors' homes and things that are going on like that. And the data is very rich. It's more data actually than most agents know. Most agents could not lay their hands on a 90-day trailing price trend line through their MLS or wherever. So it provides great data to the seller, and it's a great tool to talk to people because, when I say I have a new listing and I'm calling around to the neighbors, and they're not interested in buying or selling, but they're always interested in knowing the value, so I get their email address and I put them on Market Snapshot, and I might put them on only, say, quarterly. But now they're going to get an email from me every quarter. And I think I've had a few where I've cultivated people for 3 and 4 years on Market Snapshot, and ended up getting the list. As a matter of fact, the first settlement I had this year was from a guy that he had interviewed 5 agents 2 years ago, and I was the only one that stayed in touch that didn't forget him. But actually, I had forgotten him. But Market Snapshot did not forget him.
Right.
So he called me to list his house.
I just want to add some color to that. I mean, one of the big things that we talk about at Wave Group when we're talking to brokers about applications that keep customers and agents connected, and we use Market Snapshot as an example all the time, is why do you think customers are going to Zillow? They're going to Zillow because their real estate agent, their trusted advisor that they know, is not giving them that currency of what their home is worth and what's trending in their marketplace. So they have to go find the information elsewhere. I really see this as a great way for agents to circumvent the need for the consumer to head to that site where you have to go try and, arm wrestle your customer back.
It's a really good point, Victor, because, and it's something that when we did a webinar recently with Chris Smith, and he said, listen, remember that even if you manage follow-up with somebody all the time, and you're really diligent about it, those offline leads are online leads. They're looking for this information, and if they're going to some of these other sites, that's an opportunity for them to connect, with another professional. So if you can provide them the answers that they're looking for, then you remove that need to facilitate kind of that desire to go and search for it, and therefore maybe connect with somebody else. Okay, Tom, how about, maybe we talked a little bit about marketing, to past customers, but, maybe talk to us a little bit about the importance of being the source of that sold information. It kind of dovetails into, what Victor just said, but, you being the source of that information, how does that help you and your team?
Yeah, it helps tremendously. Agree with everything Victor said. It's a great tool for us, and I really like it because since the dawn of print, relevant content is the key. Relevant content's the key in print publications and on the internet, and email marketing is no different. Keller Williams and eEdge, a market leader, have these programs, email campaigns, and I don't think it's relevant content. And I have a feeling most of it just goes, spam folder or something. But this is something, it's relevant content because home owners are interested in the value of their home. If they're thinking of selling, they want to know. Home buyers are interested. Everybody's interested in this data. And it's packaged in a neat little package. It's all right there. And it's not information that the general public can get easily, or if they could, even if they could get it. So it's all this data in a neat little package, and so it helps to stay in touch. But it's also a great point when we do that follow-up coach. Hey, how's that market snapshot working for you? And then the other thing is we can narrow it down to the subdivision. We can narrow it down to 3-bedroom, 2-bathroom homes in their subdivision. So it's just a way to stay in touch, like exactly what Victor said, and things relevant and moving forward for people.
George,
did that answer the question? Put in there real quick about that.
Yeah.
Yeah. One thing, and I don't think everybody who uses it even realizes this, but when you're looking in your prospects in Top Producer, if you have Market Snapshot, you can see when people have clicked on it recently, and sometimes you'll see somebody's clicked on Market Snapshot 3 times on the same snapshot, which means either they're looking at it over and over or they're forwarding it to somebody. So it's a quick, it's an easy flag to call that person and find out, why are they looking at it so intently? Obviously their interest level has changed. And the other thing is people get caught up in who to send Market Snapshot to, but when you think about it, it's a great conversation piece for your sellers, your past clients who bought a home. You can get them on Market Snapshot. Anybody you're talking to, also any for sale by owners, any people who have properties listed for rent that are landlords. I mean, there are all kinds of people that you can have a conversation with and offer that tool to them. And you just say, would you rather get it weekly, monthly, quarterly, or annually? And they'll pick one and give you their email address. It's virtually 100% of the time they will give you their email address to get the product.
Do you guys have any sense for open rate? Because I think this is like the most opened and viewed email that can ever come out of the Top Producer system, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean the open rates are phenomenal. The actual click-through rates to the snapshots themselves, after the open, are in the kind of 25% range, which means that the open rates of the snapshots are even higher. They're about probably 40%. So it's a great way to kind of cut through the noise and give them something that give the consumer something that they're looking for.
I agree with everything George says on that. I wouldn't give it up. It would be one of the last tools I'd give up as well. It's great even when you meet somebody, you're door knocking. Hey, I can send you information about your community. Would that be okay? Anything. It's so powerful in so many ways and has so many uses, and it's good relevant content that people are interested in seeing in their email.
Great stuff. Okay. So let's in the interest of time, let's move on. Let's maybe keep this question, follow up after you send a market snapshot. Let's keep that, for later, and maybe George, we can relay them to your blog or your Facebook group, kind of where you've provided them strategies, for an after a follow up after you send a market snapshot.
Sure.
So let's skip the that last poll. Just in the interest of time. So let's skip that, and let's go into our last section here, and then we're going to open it up for questions. I think we've talked a little bit about follow-up coach, and this idea of being able to stay in touch with past clients. Victor alluded to 16% will use the same agent again the second go round. And it's generally because they kind of fell out of touch. So Follow-Up Coach was really kind of designed to help you take advantage of those opportunities of downtime. You're at the coffee shop, you're waiting for a client. It's an opportunity for you to follow up in a quick and meaningful way that feels personalized. Follow-Up Coach is going to give you 5 people every single day based on a simple set of rules. It's going to bubble up 5 people that you can connect with. And this is whether they're a past client, maybe they're a lead that you haven't followed up with in a timely manner. You can set these rules. These people appear. You can take an action, either call them, send them a text, or send them a snapshot directly from here, or send them an email. If I choose an email, I can select from any of the the templates, and we're constantly adding new templates that are very personalized. You can write your own, or you can do just the general reconnect. It auto-populates your phone with the content for that consumer. You hit send, and that has now been marked as a follow-up. You've now sent a personalized message out to that consumer, and it's a great way to kind of incorporate one-to-one follow-up into your mass marketing. So, I want to get to the panel because I know get to the audience questions because I know there have been a number. So really, when you look at it, Top Producer is your CRM that's helping you kind of manage those various relationships through the differing stages of the home buying cycle. But then you can complement that. You can add Market Snapshot, as you heard from Tom and George. as a great way to provide relevant content and answers to questions that your leads and clients are asking and are looking for. Market Snapshot can be an automated way in which you can do that. And then if you've got a team and you're looking to sort of supercharge your response rate and the time in which your agents are connecting with those clients, 5 Street is a way that you can do that. From a pricing standpoint, all of these products are available a la carte. So individual licenses, and then as you buy, more, if you've got a team, you kind of get into volume discounts. But we also do offer, bundle prices, and this is something that we really kind of are happy to announce, kind of here, is that combination of the various bundles. Whether you're just looking for Top Producer and Market Snapshot, or whether you're looking for Market Snapshot and 5 Street, maybe you're happy with your current CRM solution. There's a bundle that can kind of meet your needs. If you've got any questions at all around anything that you've heard today, specifically around some of these products, we've put a phone number up on the screen. You can jot that down, and a team is available to answer any of your questions. So at this point, I kind of want to turn it back over to Victor, and let's take a look at some of the questions that are coming in from the audience, and let's get George and Tom's help in answering some of them.
Yeah, you bet. Thank you very much. Well, I think this is a great RE Techinar. I mean, we really covered a lot of things, and I know a lot of these things seem pretty fundamental to success in real estate, but geez, I tell you, it's really all about execution. And one thing we know about Top Producer is that for the longest time, Top Producer has always helped real estate agents stay committed to the things that they want to be doing in their business that's easy to not get done. So just to get started, can somebody answer the question on how to access email via the mobile app? And can you talk about the Facebook connector in the contact screen?
Sure. So I can talk a little bit about both of those, and then George and Tom, feel free to jump in. The email ability is you link up to Top Producer your email account. So whether that's a Gmail account, or you're using Google Apps, you've got a custom domain. Most email clients today support this notion of IMAP. And as long as your email is IMAP supported, even if you're in a hosted exchange model, they can support IMAP. You can link your email account directly to your Top Producer system. So now you're free to send emails from any device, and you know that when you go to that contact record, it's going to show you a link to both anything sent or received. From Facebook standpoint, inside of Top Producer, we have the ability to link a contact to a specific Facebook account so that you can actually see any kind of status updates that's coming. So again, if you're getting ready to make a follow-up with a client, you can actually just right from the contact screen kind of see, oh wow, Joey just had a birthday. Maybe that's a great opener just to kind of connect and congratulate him. Or maybe Joey just scored his first goal. Just a way that you can incorporate some of those events into your follow-up.
All right, so by the way, before I get to the next question, I just want to remind the audience that today's webinar is being recorded. I know some of you have been taking notes feverishly, and there were a couple questions asked related to, can you go back? I missed that. So we're going to record this. This entire event has been recorded. We're going to stop the recording during the Q&A, so we can go ahead and do that. But I would note that for everyone, we're going to send you the recording via email, probably today or tomorrow. So you'll get that as a follow-up. So with the next thing.